Hey, my friends, been a little while since I did a video, and today I want to talk a little bit about marketing in the age of AI. And so this is a topic that's getting increasingly important and increasingly relevant and urgent is kind of what I'm noticing. And so I want to just kind of give you my current thoughts, knowing that in 1 month, 1 week, maybe already, my thoughts will be outdated, redundant, whatever else. And it'll kind of be funny for me from a historical reference to see what I was thinking at this time. So this is recorded in March of 2026. And I'm just going to give you a few thoughts because it is an urgent thing that I notice people talking about. So I run a community for independent marketing consultants, and you can learn more about that over on my personal website down below. You can find the link in the bio. But the topic of AI has become not only relevant but also urgent and of high importance. So I just want to talk you through my current thinking and see if it resonates with you. And I have my little handy dandy slides here so we can kind of dive in to see what that is. So remember, this is recorded March 2026. It'll be funny again to see this in a year because none of it will make sense. So take that for what it is, and we're all just trying to figure this out as we go. So, right now with the advent of new tools, so we've had, ChatGPT, and we've had tools for a few years now, and some of them have been helpful. They've been very helpful, but there's been a lot of kind of AI slop. And now it seems like this stuff is actually not just being a chat interface. You've got tools like Claude coming out. You've got tools like N8N. You've got all kinds of different AI tools, and I'm still diving deep into it. And what's apparent, though, is that these tools are able to do more work on your behalf and not just be kind of information. It's going from consultant to executor, and that's a good thing and something we should all be excited about. And because of that, the outputs of these things are getting significantly better. And there's a bunch of ways that that's happening. So tools like Claude, for example, allow you to have skills, and you can have skills that if you're doing, say, copywriting or design or conversion rate optimization or SEO, basically anything, you can develop skills, which is basically a way of giving predefined prompts and knowledge on how to do certain tasks, right? So you're actually educating them a little more specifically, and you can customize that to your heart's content and basically teach them your way of doing AI, CRO, so on and so forth. And so that is already better because you're now able to create a more specific context window to apply your expertise, your knowledge, your practices to your client situations, to the people you work for and their business. And that just makes executing a lot easier and a lot more efficient, less corrections and more direct and more along the lines of your frameworks or other people's frameworks. You're able to share these tools like Claude Skills with others. So, and therefore be able to download other experts' Claude Skills. So you're able to do research and SEO and ads and all kinds of stuff. Have it learn at least a framework for approaching that in the way a consultant would, and then it makes the output and makes the review, makes the analysis extremely fast, which is awesome. So I'll be doing more videos on AI as I'm learning it, and definitely not an expert here, but and as a strategist, I'm going to use it differently than someone else who's a graphic designer or an SEO, but I'll talk to you how I'm interfacing with it as we go through these videos. So if you're not subscribed already, definitely be sure to subscribe. So yeah, these new tools are becoming actually practical, useful, and urgent, and my clients are all rushing to use it. Some of them are already using it and are using it to send stuff to me and say, hey, what are your thoughts on this? And here's all this data I was able to accumulate and pull together and analysis and reports using tools like Claude Cowork specifically. There's Claude Code, Claude Cowork, Claude Chat, and there's others, Dispatch, there's other tools. They're just rapidly building. But Cowork is the thing that lets you do more execution and more hands-on analysis. So you can put in exported data from various places like Google Analytics, Google Ads, Google Search Console, and all the other stuff, and have it really interpret and analyze these things and provide insight that you still have to review and check, but super interesting so far. So anyways, long-winded way of saying AI is becoming relevant really quickly, not just for us marketers, but also CEOs and business owners and executives across the business community. And I'm sure people are using this personally as well. So with that, there's some new introduced fears. And we just had a community call with, I think there's about 10 of us on a call, marketing consultants. And it seems like there's a high correlation between the people who know AI the best and also their concerns about how AI is going to impact the future. So the concern being that there's going to be layoffs starting from junior level people who do kind of lower expertise work. So junior marketers in our case and junior professionals across the board. and then working its way up to the point where maybe directors aren't going to be as needed, or middle managers and or various people to do execution, to the point where it could even be that one or two or three small marketing teams can do the work of historically 10, 15, and maybe more. And so we're in this world now where there's going to be a consolidation, it seems. And I want to say everything I don't know. Information changes so quickly, but it seems like there's going to be a consolidation, and we just have to be prepared for that. So, are the fears hyperbolic or warranted? I don't know, right? Are there going to be mass layoffs? Are there going to be people losing their jobs? We're seeing companies laying off people and then saying, we're now able to use AI. And the mandate is, if you're not using AI, if you can't do it with AI, don't even bother hiring new people. These messages from CEOs have been coming out for a long time. Who knows what's true in terms of what's going to happen or not. But if there is mass layoffs, you may have this thing where some people are disproportionately affected and laid off and don't have options, and some people are going to do very well. And so you'll have this kind of just like a K shape and more of a, displays, like some people are doing extremely well and some people are doing, not well at all. And so from a societal level, that's extremely concerning. And it's beyond the scope of my knowledge right now and what I can do. And I'm sure the smart people will figure it out, but there's other viewpoints as well. So we'll talk about that as well. And, so is it hyperbolic or is it warranted? Let's kind of talk about that and kind of get into, first principles around how it relates to our work. Because obviously the catastrophic fear is if a bunch of people get laid off, the economy completely changes, supply and demand changes. I consult for the co-working industry as a consultant. So if there's, half the knowledge workers are laid off, not only is that bad for that half of people, but then also how does that affect supply and demand tension for co-working operators? How office space demand would go down and there may be an oversupply. And that's just one example of all kinds of industries. So bearing that in mind, is it hyperbolic? Who knows? But I can see a potential optimistic path, and I'll talk about that as well. So let's talk about first principles as it relates to business. And because that's kind of the best way I can approach this. By the way, I have a philosophy degree. Doesn't mean I'm a great philosopher, but it helped me to kind of break down problems and to think about things philosophically. So I'll touch on that. I also then went back to school for small business entrepreneurship. I've been consulting full time for over a decade, and as a freelancer for much longer than that, an agency owner for almost 2 decades now, or maybe more. So this is what I'm bringing to the conversation right now. As long as there is problems in the world to solve, there will be businesses solving those problems for compensation. And so that has always been true. That will always be true. There will always be problems. Therefore, there will always be entrepreneurs. There will always be businesses that are doing things. And if that is true, then there will be a need to get more customers for people solving those problems, just so that, generating awareness, you're getting in front of the people who need that thing solved. Therefore, there will always be some form of marketing. Now, maybe the entrepreneurs will be able to do it themselves, or maybe they won't have the mental bandwidth to look at everything, assess everything. There's still an infinite world of things you could do. So there'll probably be some people doing marketing, maybe fewer people in a company, but every company, every individual is going to need help with marketing, and not every entrepreneur is going to want to do that. So if there's problems, then there's businesses. If there's businesses, then there's need for customer demand. So my battery died there, but I'm going to just continue. So if those things are true, then there's going to need to be some kind of human to decide and to interpret data and to do analysis and to execute marketing with AI. Therefore, marketers won't disappear fundamentally according to that logic. Is that logic true or not? I don't know, but that's certainly kind of my thinking. And so with that in mind, it just means, well, how do we make sure that we are not the ones getting laid off and have no other options? And I think obviously maintaining your knowledge and learning your knowledge in all things marketing is going to be important, because there's a million ways to do things and you'll have to make decisions on how you want to do things. And learning AI as quickly as you can and being a useful person at helping companies like your clients or like the companies you work for to adopt AI, that's going to make you more valuable in the short term. And so that's going to be really important. So I don't think we're all going away, but it's definitely going to be potentially shrunk, but who knows, right? Who knows how things are going to go. So currently, marketing teams, like all areas of business, are really constrained by time, energy, resources, mental capacity, effort. And so these are kind of things. It's not like we have a shortage of options or shortage of things to do. It's that we just don't have the time, energy, effort, and money to do it, and the people, right? So AI is going to make a lot of things more efficient in terms of analysis, decision-making, execution, everything related to marketing, going to be more efficient. That's great. Will that mean that we'll just do more, or will that mean that we, don't have, or will that mean that, that the people are going to get laid off and there's therefore not going to be need for people? And I don't know. I really have no idea. Now, with that in mind, I think humanness will be in marketing and in business will be a status signal. So I think having more humans around to answer questions, to do sales, to do marketing, to be, I think video is going to continue to be a huge thing. Even if AI can do what I'm doing right now and basically be indiscernible from me or from an AI generation, which I think now is the time to put yourself on video, because anything kind of pre 2006, 7, 8 is going to be considered, gold, because you'll know the person, the creator, the person, behind the camera, or in front of the camera rather. And that's going to be hugely important just in terms of credibility and humanness. But humanness is going to be important. So I think we're always going to want humans involved in marketing and in sales and in all areas of business, because we're humans. We like to interact and work with people. So it's really about supporting humans and doing that and doing more human-centric marketing. That's going to be important. Another thing to think about in a more optimistic vein is that a lot of jobs today didn't exist a long time ago. There was no digital strategist. Maybe there were marketing strategists, but I don't know when they came around. There were no creators. There was no, internet YouTubers or online educators or social media managers or ads. Like literally everything we do in marketing today didn't exist 20, 30 years ago, or they existed in different forms, but completely new today. So we're in this place where, obviously some jobs are going to be folded together. AI is going to take on more, but what new jobs are going to be created that are requiring a human being? And I still think there's tons of room for humans to provide their taste, their strategy, to really kind of make sure things choosing to do things in a certain way, interpreting data in a certain way, acting on data in a certain way. I think there's always going to be a human element, and that's going to be part of the competitive advantage. Maybe some companies are going to rely wholly on bots that just run thousands of tests and automate and stuff. But I don't know. I mean, who knows, right? I want to caveat, I'm just guessing with all this stuff. But I still think humans are going to be involved in marketing, and there's going to be new jobs, new opportunities, and people are going to transition into adjacent paths and all kinds of stuff. So, yes, there'll be layoffs. Yes, some people won't do well, but I think if you are a learner, if you are investing in your learning and you're learning AI and you're learning technology, there's always money through knowledge arbitrage by learning technology. Even though these technologies are getting easier, knowing how to use the technology and also having traditional knowledge of marketing is going to be super helpful, in my opinion. But yeah, a positive scenario is that there's new jobs being created that have never been created before. So what's the best plan for today? And because I run a group for marketing consultants, and we're talking about this a lot. I think the best thing you can do is not become a dinosaur. I mean, when I was doing digital marketing and I came up, and it was always a young person's thing. It seemed like, why was there no old people doing social media management and so on and so forth? And that was always a concern, right? Like, why are they always filled with young people? Well, aside from being cheaper, young people were more likely to adopt the digital tools and become part of the digital revolution. And those that had technical skill, those that had technology capabilities, and that could use computers and that could stay with the times and stay current and learn. And it's really harder to learn when you're older. Those are going to be the ones that are successful. And those that did do that can have had great careers long into their 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, right? Who knows? So this is no different. So the best thing you can do today, whether you're a junior marketer, an intermediate, or a senior marketer, is to learn AI, to invest in it, help companies use it, help make good decisions with it, help deploy it, learn how to execute with it, learn how to be more efficient, to do more with fewer people. And that'll just make you more indispensable over time. That combined with just knowledge of how marketing is done, like the things that don't change, the human element of psychology and positioning and differentiation and awareness building and all the just levers you can pull, product marketing and customer insight and data analysis and how to think about things, how to break down problems, all going to be super valuable, combined with knowledge of technology and being able to use technology in the most efficient way possible. So those are my thoughts as of March 2026, and as I said, they're likely to be out of date by the time someone watches this in a few months. I did a video long ago, and I was basically saying That taste was a key factor that's always going to keep us in the game. And that's starting to feel out of date because technology has already changed. So we're in a rapid technology change. The good news is, though, that there's going to be a lot of positive that comes from AI. And so as long as we're not in some mass layoff situation where society and all the different supply and demand gets readjusted and everyone's thrown off, which part of that is going to happen. That's been happening forever anyway. And there's no such thing as a constant. We need to be adaptable. But at the same time, we'll have better technology, more efficient, means of generating food and resources, as well as health and science and all kinds of great advancements. So I remain a techno-optimist. I did in philosophy a course on the philosophy of technology. And my final paper was basically that necessity is the mother of invention. And I also believe, as kind of a marketer and as a capitalist, if you will, or someone who believes in business as a means of growth, and that inherent striving is what pushes things forward in life. I don't think the incentives are to create a world where everyone gets laid off and then what happens, right? I don't think society collapses under its own weight, but who knows, right? I mean, there's probably been many times where empires have fallen and all kinds of things have happened. But I think that incentives will be to generate more profits and more growth and more innovation, and humans will be a component of that, a big component of that, no matter what tools we have. Because you can do unlimited things, but it's not about all the things. It's not about all the information exists already. It's always about what are you going to do with the available information? How are you going to interpret it? What strategic trade-offs are you going to make? Because trade-offs are fundamental to strategy. All strategy is trade-offs, right? The most leveraged, advantageous trade-offs that you can make is what strategy is. And that's really what we're all going to be doing. So stay tuned for more information. I'll be posting as much of my thoughts on AI as possible, as well as some tactical stuff as I learn things like Claude and N8N and various other tools for marketing in particular. And I'll be sharing more on the channel. So stay tuned and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are you catastrophically thinking right now? Are you thinking this is going to be great? Is it somewhere in between? Let me know. But and are you adopting AI? That's the big question. So if you want to learn more about me, head over to kevin.me. It's my personal website. You can get on the mailing list. I also have a membership in a community for independent marketing consultants. You can learn more about that over on the website. And I'll be kind of doing some housekeeping and rebranding of that community a little bit. But it's a great place to kind of connect. And for one time, you can buy a bunch of materials and learn how to do strategy, sell consulting, sell marketing services, advisory services, productized marketing, all kinds of stuff, as well as how to deliver that and how to market yourself and all kinds of good stuff. So that's, you can go through my personal website. You'll find a link to it in the header. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.